In today's Farm Report, analysts continue to lower their expectations for this fiscal year's agricultural export performance. Greg Crawford with the U.S. Department of Agriculture has more.
Last August, Agriculture Department analysts made their first forecast for U.S. ag exports for the 2015 fiscal year, which would start then that October.
We're forecasting that at $144.5 billion.
By December, they had pared that down somewhat to
$143.5 billion.
Then in February, they cut that down again to
$141.5 billion.
And the revised forecast issued just a few days ago,
$140.5 billion.
Down $4 billion from that first forecast 9 months ago. And senior USDA economist Sharon Saito told us that would be $12 billion below 2014's record, but
Still the third highest on record.
But why are exports not meeting expectations? It's not because of coarse grain and oilseed exports. Saito told us those actually are doing better than expected. And compared to the previous USDA forecast,
We're looking at higher grain and feed exports, up about $600 million due to record exports of sorghum and higher than expected feed exports. Oilseeds and oilseed products are also looking to be up, largely due to the higher value of soybean meal exports.
Taking a look at corn, the expected volume of shipments forecast 1.5 million tons above what was expected a few months ago, but 5.5 million below last year. Analysts have not changed the corn export value forecast. It's still at $8.5 billion, about $2.5 billion below 2014. The forecast for soybean shipment volumes is up slightly from the February forecast at 49 million tons. That would be roughly 3.5 million tons more than we shipped last fiscal year. Prices, though, are so low that soybean export value could drop by $3 billion. But Sharon Saito says fruit and vegetable sales are slower than predicted, also compared to the previous forecast.
Dairy exports are looking to be lower due to strong competitive situation in the world market. In addition, U.S. poultry exports are facing increased trade restrictions.
You can thank reactions to our avian flu outbreaks for that. One positive note, though, comes on the import side of things. The U.S. is expected to buy $117 billion worth of ag products from other countries this year, but
This forecast for May is about $2 billion less than it was in February.
so subtract expected imports from expected exports.
That gives us a trade balance of $23.5 billion, positive trade balance.
Which would be a surplus $1 billion larger than had been expected, still though almost $20 billion smaller than the U.S. racked up in fiscal 2014. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Washington.
June is Dairy Month, and to celebrate, Little Falls Radio, Coburn's, and Centra Soda will be celebrating June Dairy Days at the Coburn's parking lot from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Get a cheeseburger, milk, and ice cream for $3. And from 10 a.m. to noon, the Little Falls Radio's party line will be out there. Guests on today's program will be Taylor Check, Renee Hebig, and Sarah Herzog, the 2015 Morrison County Dairy Princesses. Also out there today will be past princesses, as well as Emily Wilmes and Becky Moe from the University of Minnesota Extension Service Office. That's all part of the June Dairy Days promotion going on today and tomorrow at Coburn's in Little Falls. The USDA has announced that it'll have another general sign-up for the Conservation Reserve Program. Rod Bain with the U.S. Department of Agriculture has more.
A milestone in conservation is being celebrated this year.
The 30th year of CRP.
The Conservation Reserve Program. And Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack recently shared its success stories among one of the many partners who have benefited from CRP's preservation of habitat, Ducks Unlimited.
170,000 stream miles have been improved and now find grass buffers or riparian buffers protecting the quality of those rivers and streams. 300,000 acres over the last 30 years of floodplain wetlands have been created. It's had a positive impact on reducing nitrogen and phosphorus levels in our waterways.
So with that in mind, the Secretary made several announcements connected to CRP, drawing the most attention.
We will have another general sign-up scheduled for December 1st of this year.
And the administrator of the USDA agency that oversees the Conservation Reserve Program, Val Docini of the Farm Service Agency, gives details of this sign-up.
A general sign-up will run for about 3 months through February 26 of next year. Over the last several years, Congress has decreased the number of acres eligible for the CRP program to this farm bill, which is 24 million. That means that the competition is going to be a lot tougher for acres that are desirous of being enrolled in the CRP program, and they should all demonstrate probably greater environmental benefits than may have been the case in past sign-ups.
Now, in addition to the general CRP sign-up announcement, Secretary Vilsack also revealed,
We want to reassure folks whose contracts may be expiring at the end of September of this year that they'll be given the opportunity to extend for another year that contract at their option. We understand that commodity prices have come down a bit. The CRP program is again an attractive alternative to utilizing that land for crop production.
And USDA and FSA are working to expand some of the more popular continuous CRP sign-up programs, including
our intent to add an additional 100,000 acres to the Wetland Restoration Initiative under our continuous sign-up effort, another 400,000 acres to the SAFE program, which is now in excess of 1 million acres of conservation activity in partnership with our states, and an additional 300,000 acres of duck nesting habitat. That is now going to double the allocation for duck nesting habitat.
More details about the latest general and continuous CRP signups and the Conservation Reserve Program itself can be obtained at local Farm Service Agency offices or online at www.fsa.usda.gov/conservation. I'm Ron Payne reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
As June begins, we continue to see favorable range and pastureland conditions. USDA meteorologist Brett Rippey.
As of the end of May 31st, we're looking at 61% of the U.S. rangeland and pasture rated good to excellent, just 10% very poor to poor.
Rippey says the concentration of stressed pasture and rangeland is mainly in the western U.S.
At least 1/5 of the pasture and rangeland rated in very poor to poor shape in Washington State, Montana, Colorado, Nevada, and California.
Coming to the list moving southeastward is North Carolina,
with 21% rated very poor to poor.
But for the vast majority of the country,
we are looking at pretty lush green conditions at this point in the growing season. For example, in Illinois, 82% of the pastures rated in good to excellent condition.
And a number of other states across the plains and Midwest are above 70%. For USDA Radio, Susan Carter, Washington, D.C.
The June Dairy celebration is going on at Cobrins today until 6. They'll be serving a cheeseburger, milk, and ice cream for $3. And then again tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 6. Some of the guests on today's extended party line were Emily Wilmes, Dan Martins, and Becky Mo, all from the University of Minnesota Extension Service Office. We also had the Morrison County Dairy Princesses and Amy from Centra Soda. On tomorrow's program, we'll have Jenny Haler, the Princess K of the Milky Way, along with Dave Ladd from Ardion Associates, Diane Colomb from the Morrison County Ag Learning Center, and Lon Johnson from Centra Soda. That's all coming up tomorrow at the Dairy Days celebration going on at Cobrins as part of an extended party line, going on from 10 a.m. to noon.